Hey everybody, welcome or welcome back. You may have noticed what my profile picture is, you may not have. It's one of these moon star shelves. At the end of the video I will show you the other one that I made and explain to you the different style that I tried to make that one in. It's still pretty. It's not how I intended it to be, but it is still pretty. But I've decided to do one in a different style. What I intend to do with this one is I intend to do black and white marbling for the moon and possibly orange and yellow marbling for the star. Now, I was toying with doing glow in the dark. I have got a brand new set of glow in dark, so I haven't even opened it yet. Now, it may seem a little bit pointless actually putting lights in if I'm going to use glow in the dark, but I'm kind of an all or nothing kind of person. So I'll put in the lights in anyway, regardless. I'll decide on the colours later. I have got 2 strings of light out. Just checking again that they still work. Let me just, before we go ahead, is I want to barrier off this star. That is one of the things that didn't work out for me in the previous one. That's going to be fun. I'm going to position my light box, my battery pack, where I want it to be able to sit nicely once it's stood up. This is supposed to be a shelf, so I want it to be able to just sit nicely and flushly on the surface without dangling and without having lots of length bundled up at the back. So I'm just loosely positioning it where I would want it to sit. And then I'm going to start positioning. I need to consider where I'm going to put the barrier. The barrier obviously will need to come to the highest points. You'll notice that inners, the star and these parts of the moon are lower than the actual edge. So I need my barrier to come all the way to the top edge. So I'm going to have to consider that when I come to how I'm going to cure this in place. So I've got it so that the wire is coming out just above where the barrier will go. I'm just going to put a little dot of UV here, cure it up straight away. Right, so forget that, stick that down there, wrap it around there. So you start off with the exit and with the battery pack end, because that way you can get your battery pack positioned in the correct place first. But also you can just trim off a bit at the end, the other end, and the rest of your lights will still work. You obviously can't do that if you started at the other end, then you can't cut off at the battery end. Well, ended up using them all anyway. Let's see how that looks now. Bit better, but bearing in mind as well I shall have some lights coming around here for the moon, so I guess that's okay. And then I'm gonna have to pull that over this way. So now I need to make a barrier. I need to decide how I'm going to make my barrier. A couple of potential ways. One is hot glue it, one is jewellery tape. I have decided that the best way for me to do a barrier is to use jewellery tape. Now the jewellery tape just happens to be the perfect height of this. So I am doing it by lining up against the top edge, which means manipulating the mould out of my way. But then before I secure it back on this edge, I am letting the mould, this part of the mould, fall back to its natural position. So it is straight across there, and then smooth it down along the rest of the wall. But I am also going to seal along the bottom of the tape and up the sides of the tape with hot glue. I don't mind if I fill the whole of the channel, the floor. Give that a minute to cool down, and then I'll see if I think I've got full coverage. I just decided to have a look at my glow in the dark powders. Now, it's unfortunate that they've positioned the label like that, but the company is CISO. I bought them from Amazon, so I can link them. But they come with a UV light. How sweet is that? So this is the set. That says lime, and it does kind of have a green tinge to it, I guess. That says yellow and looks orange to me. It kind of looks yellow through the camera. but it looks orange to me in person. And there's an orange yellow, it says. I think I might, just for experiment purposes, mix up a little bit of these in UV just for the sake of quickness. I'm just going to see how this yellow looks that's actually called yellow but looks orange. This one is actually very yellow and it's heated up by the UV lamp, so I'm assuming it will be very yellow in the dark. Yes, actually I am going to use that one. Look what else interesting. When I was waiting for that to cure, I was looking at the labels. Cyan, sky blue, is white in the pot. Well, I mixed my resin in a silicone cup and then I added the colour into the silicone cup, and then I regretted it because I couldn't see whether the colouring was all the way through the resin. I couldn't see any powder blobs, so I tipped it into a plastic cup, and I think there might be a blob under at the bottom, but generally speaking it looks like it's fully coloured throughout. I am concerned it's going to be a little bit translucent for in the daytime, that it'll show the wires through, but I don't think I can put much more colour in and it make a difference. It's fully saturated through, so I don't think adding more will change that. And as long as it looks pretty, especially at night if the lights are on, either the string lights or whether the lights are off and it's glowing, whichever, as long as it looks pretty, I don't mind. And I mixed up 100ml to start with, so we'll just see if that turns out to be enough. If it's not enough, I won't bother mixing up any more until I'm sure there's no leakage. The other thing I'm concerned about is not being able to get into my 90-degree angles to seize up bubbles, but that's just something else we might just have to live with. I have sprayed alcohol, so here goes. I'm just putting it onto the flat top and let it run down the sides so that it can slowly make its way around the wires and hopefully rise up all around the wires rather than being dumped on top of a clump of wires and then creating a bubble. That was a good guess. I should have gone around with a toothpick before filling it up, shouldn't I? I'm not going to go too close to that. I don't want to go poke any holes in my barrier. Just do my best at teasing out any bubbles. Some bubbles are rising. Tweezers, come on, push down. Don't mind them being at the back, I just don't want them poking out of the back completely. So far I can't see any leakage through my barrier. I'm just down the UV light on it just so I can see. No leakage. Excellent. I shall just keep an eye on that and I will see you for the next stage. So I am ready to move on to the next stage, and I just thought I would show you there was no leakage. You probably don't need to see this. Fast forward it if you don't. Let's just see how easy it is. If it is easy, or how difficult it is to get this out, for those who are interested. Oh no, I've gone and broken the seal there. I didn't think about that. So that means my black resin will leak into there. Right, but I can't have that green tape in there. What am I going to do? I am going to have a go at doing some resin paper. If you've not heard of resin paper, please see Daniel Cooper. I will link Daniel Cooper. He seemingly invented resin paper. So I shall get prepared and come back to you. Okay, so resin paper. If I had just done resin paper in the first place to create this barrier, I wouldn't be needing to mess about now. But I tried to avoid doing it because I'm rubbish with it. So now my hand has been forced. I need to create something that will barrier this again, but something that I can leave in place so that when I put this resin in, it'll obviously be sealed in. I can't take it back out, but I don't want it to be something that will show up in the finished piece. This is parchment paper or greaseproof paper, but it's the white one. I'm just going to mark on here if I can. It's not very visible. No, it's a bit hard to write on. So I've just marked on there roughly the height I need it to be. Now you can obviously make, I'm saying obviously again, sorry, I shouldn't do that. It'll become clear when I do it. You can make as much as you want and save other bits for later. I'm going to aim to just try and roughly do the amount I need. Put some UV resin on your parchment paper, and I want it so that it will come to this line and spread along this line so that I make a flat bottom for it. Then you spread it out. I'm just going to put this under the UV lamp now. Okay, this has cured. If it works, because it is resin, it's invisible in your piece. I think just a UV resin line is going to be the best way. Sorry guys, but at least I've introduced you to a different potential method of making a barrier, and that is something you can try. As I always say on this channel, I'm not the best at getting flawless results, but I can give you the ideas for you to try, and if you can get better results, then that is brilliant. I have done my, I was going to say done my job, but it's not my job. It's not yet anyway. I have served my purpose sharing my hobby with you. Next job is to put in the lights. I will probably time lapse a lot of this as well, but again I'm going to position my light where I think I want it to sit, and tuck that out of the way again, and then start by feeding this down here. Oh, that looks good. I'm going to get something to press up against the side of that there. I am going to use my Let's Resin pre-mixed black, because that is a lovely deep black. I have mixed up my black already. With this, I'm going to actually do this with you. I'm not sure. This is the first time I've opened this. I'm getting a bit concerned about my black. I'll explain why in a minute. Okay, doesn't black come out in drops like your pigments do. So we want this to be pure white, completely opaque. I don't know if there's a formula for how many drops per milliliter of resin, or per 50 or per 100. I've mixed up 100 here. It's a bit difficult to see with it being in a silicone cup. The reason I'm getting a bit concerned about the black is I mixed up 200 mils. I have split it across 3 cups because most important reason is if you leave it too deep in the 1 cup, you risk the flash cure because it's more than 2 inches deep. But also, even if you don't get a flash cure, the deeper it is, the quicker it'll cure, so you lose working time if you leave it. The second reason is I don't actually know how much I need. I don't want to pour all this white, 100 ml of white, into 200 ml of black, and then not need some of it and it be wasted, because I haven't got another project to the side that I would want to do black and white marbling in. I have got a project on the side that I want pure black for, so I'm going to just put some of this white into one of the black cups, pour that, then put some of the white into a second black cup, pour that, and then if I don't need the third cup of black, I've got my other project that I can use it with. So let's get this going before this gets too warm. So when you want to marble, one way of doing it is to pour your white into your black, but don't mix it, otherwise you'll just turn it all grey. So you just, hang on, I left this here to remind me to spray, and then you just pour. Just want to see how it goes. There's not enough white in there for the ratio that I want. I think you are actually supposed to try and, you know, zigzag it about in the cup as well. Otherwise you're just going to get all the white come dumping out first. Well, in this case, I'm going to get all the white dumping out first. So I think the theory is zigzag it in the cup so that it mixes. Let's try that again. Right, I'm not going to worry about that anymore. I'm just going to get this poured. Oh, another way of trying to get the marble effect is pour your black and pour your white from separate cups, but you know, black, white, black, white. Another way is to use one of them split cups, and I've got one of them split cups exactly for this purpose. I had this purpose in mind, and I've only gone and forgotten until just now that I have one. Guys, my memory, it sucks. I am going to need to use the rest of this, I presume most of it, if not all of it. Before I do that, actually, let me do the old I didn't put enough white in. I think what I'll do is pour some of this white now, see whether this can penetrate through the black a little bit. and then fill it up with the black. Well, do you know what? That wasn't a bad guess. There is a little bit of space left. But the yellow is also, there's a tiny dip in the yellow. I'm not going to bother mixing up more black and white. And when this is fully cured, then I might do another thin layer of clear so that the clear can go over the whole thing and level it up between the moon and the star. So I think that is going to be all I'm going to do with this tonight. Let me put this back here. I'll take my gloves off and bring my phone down. You can see that that is slightly curved. So actually when I do this, that's going to push a bit of resin the other way. I'm not going to have you sit and watch me do a clear top coat, but I just wanted to show you how much short of the level that resin came up to. You can't really tell with the yellow, but there is a little bit of a ridge. I want to completely level it against this. Okay, so I'll see you for demold. It has been only approximately 24 hours with the main section on heat mat, but I did actually check on it this morning and it felt like it were already cured, so that was only after about 10 hours. After work today, I did put a clear coat on the back. I did put that on the heat mat, even though, you know, it's got to get through there for the heat to reach the clear coat. I did that only approximately 5 or 6 hours ago, and this feels lovely and cured. I did get it nice and smooth over this hump here. There's a bit of tiny bit of a bumpiness to it on that side of the wire, but on this side it feels completely flat. There was a tiny bit of black leakage over here, but I'm hoping that didn't show through on the front and that there is no other black leakage shown through on the front. I have put some nice clean gloves on just in case it is still a bit too soft. I'm being too impatient and I don't want to put any fingerprints in. So who thinks we should demold it now? I do. So just break the seal there. In fact, I'm going to lay it back down so that we don't get any peeking. Just straighten my mould out. Oh gosh, I need to give me back a rest now for a second. Right, okay. Are we ready for the reveal? 3, 2, 1. I like it. It's still fairly subtle around some areas, but overall I really like it. The black leakage into the star is only there. Although, it does look like there's a black... Oh, let me angle it right. But that's strange, it's just like a stripe on top of this bit. So, I don't know how that's happened. Oh, I hope my lights still work. Right, okay then, without further ado, let's test the lights. I'm just going to dangle them off the edge here a moment. Oh yes, I shall go and turn my lights off. I'll close the blinds. Still pretty daylight here. That's not bad. I think maybe I could have done with putting 2 sets of lights around the moon, but still, that's not bad. Let's have a look at the glow in the darkness. No, I'll sit this in the window for a minute and then I'll come back to you to show it lit up again. Have I turned both of them off? Yeah. Okay, back in a moment. There we go. So I haven't got direct sunlight coming in through the window, so the sun's not shining on it per se. It's just getting whatever natural light comes, but without the sun. So that is still a fair bit of a glow there. And if we put the moonlights on at the same time, but in fact, let me shine my UV light on it a minute as well. Okay, that's lovely. Okay guys, thank you very much for joining me again this week, and I hope to see you again next week. Please like, subscribe, comment and share. Before we move on to the glamour shots, I've just remembered that I said I would show you the other one that I made and how I did that and how it went wrong. So I attempted to do yellow star, but I didn't barrier this off good, and I attempted to do black with silver stripes. So I used glitter and silver foil. I used gold foil in there. That's kind of not relevant. Because of not barriering properly here, the yellow leaked out and just formed a rim on the lower part of the whole thing. And because of not being able to make barriers in here, with hindsight, I think I know how I would do it now, but I didn't at the time. I thought that just doing silver stripe, it would stay. I didn't realise that it would still run off the edge a little bit and therefore just pool around the bottom there. So clearly, if you wanted to make silver stripes, you would have to find a way to barrier into the bottom and across and down to the bottom. It still came out fairly pretty though, I think. I'm not going to bother getting up to turn my light off for you for this one, but I'm liking the newer one better. I think that glow in the dark star just adds an extra little touch. All right, thank you guys again. Hang around for the glamour shots of the new one.